Hello, I'm Shane and welcome back to 3D Modular Madness. Today, I thought we would do a bit of a recap and update because I've been releasing a lot of things since the last time we talked, and there's a lot more coming down the pipe. So I thought we'd start at the very top and just kind of recap Roll Hexfinity, Hexfinity, all that stuff. So first of all, I released Hexfinity Starter Pack, which was these set of blocks. It had 3 of the core 3-path block, and a start, source, and a sink. And it has some of these, what I call plates. I named them basically after Lego plates because a Lego brick is 3 high and a Lego plate is 1 high, and that is the same for Hexfinity. So a plate is 3 high, it takes 3 plates to equal 1 brick. We also have bases, which I call 0 high because they don't actually raise the height of anything you stack with them, but they do allow you to hook things together nicely. I did this initial release and we've gotten a few hundred downloads and a lot of likes on MakerWorld, so making good progress. I've printed it in a lot of different filaments. Here it is in blue, here it is in green. Here it is in translucent PET G, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. You can kind of see it here. With the initial release, then I have now followed up with 2 additional packs. So let me just put this back together real quick. I have this standard way of putting down the initial starter pack, just so I can always make sure I got the right amount of bricks. Oh, that's right, it's here. So we do that, and then we can do this, and a straight, and this, and the bin. Beautiful. And I always like it when it goes to perfectly settled. All right, so let's look at the expansion packs. So first, let's talk about the split and merge pack. There we go. So the split and merge pack, we've got a split brick and a merge brick. And allows you to do nice split and merge stuff. So we have the split and merge pack, which originally just had the split and the merge pieces. I have just this weekend updated the split and merge pack with a new piece. And that new piece is this piece right here. It is a 5-to-1 merge, has 5 inputs and 1 output, which allows you to do fun things like this particular run. Also, after the split and merge pack, I released the flat pack, which are pieces like this, which have no ramp. They're completely flat for the balls to go through. And that allows you to not only do runs like this where you don't, but without this flat pack, we'd have to rise up many times. We have to make this whole thing higher to make this work. And in particular, we've got this inner path, which only has 1, 2, 3 bricks in it. And with the outer path, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bricks in it. So if the inner path was only 3 bricks and the outer path was 6 bricks, it'd be hard to make this inner path work because it'd have to go from really high to really low. But with these flat packs, we only have 1 gap here. This one's 1 too high, but the balls fall through just fine. So the flat pack gives you a lot of flexibility. It also makes tunneling nice, which I don't have a demo for here, but sometimes you can stack 2 flat packs together in a nice little way that allows balls to go through. This would be a 4 high section. You could have balls go 2 different directions. And this all follows my broad goals for Hexfinity, which is I like big flows that are aesthetically pleasing. I'm a little less focused on sort of the physics simulation Rube Goldberg kind of things like Gravitrax, which incidentally, I didn't even know about Gravitrax when I started this project. I'm happy that Gravitrax exists, but I'm more interested in something that looks beautiful, which is why I do a lot of prints in wood. I like something that has infinite flows, and I also like stuff that's really easy to build with. I've gotten myself a pack of Gravitrax now, and it's just hard to design things with it. But this system, we can very easily build up new things. Like, just take this. Well, let's do that. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do a little of that action. And since I mentioned it, let's go ahead and do a flat pat going through the middle like that. And then we'll do going around the corner like this. And in this case, I'm just gonna use a flat pack as a stacker because it's a good stacker. And we'll keep going around the corner. And then we're gonna go across the middle with another flat pack here. And then we're gonna go up even higher here. And then let's go around again like this. And then we can stack up, I think it's gonna be a 4 high here. Doot. Nope, only 3. Oh, I was right, it was 4 high. And look, just with that much effort, I can design a cool new run that's got tunnels and stuff going on. That's what I like. It's really easy to just play around with the system and come up with fun stuff. Incidentally, and I'm going to talk about this more, I've been learning how to make super modules. So this whole thing is on a base. And this base now becomes a module. So now we could put this into a larger ecosystem. If we have 2 curves like this, this now becomes a module. We have an input here where the previous module can go in, and we have an output here where this can connect out to another module going the other direction. So this becomes a larger module within the system, which is a good sign of a modular system, is if you can make super modules out of the base modules. All right, let's continue on, and I completely destroyed my demo. So let's go ahead, we're gonna build it on the fly. So in addition to the new 5:1 piece, this weekend I also released X's. And there's 2 different X's I've released. They look very similar. It just depends on where the inputs are. So I think the most useful one is this one, where the 2 inputs are 120 degrees apart from each other. So these are the inputs, those are the outputs. But because it was easy to design and sometimes it's fun to use, there's also this one, which has the 2 inputs close to each other and the 2 outputs close to each other. So let's just do something quick with this one. And I think we're gonna need a little more space, so I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. We are going to have an exit here. And then we are going to have a merge. So here's another way that I like to design things, is I don't make the heights correct to start with. I just start putting down the bricks that need to go where they need to go. And then I can fix the heights later after I've realized that the basic layout is good. So if we do those things and then we have a split brick at the top, then we're gonna have to put this brick over here. I'm like, okay, that's starting to look all right. So let's get a base to connect these. Now, of course, it's flat, it's not gonna roll, but now we can just raise it up. Now we can say, all right, we got a good design. Let's go ahead and level up this design. Literally level it up. We're gonna rise it, increase its height so that things roll through it. Put that there, and we're gonna go up again. And here's where we're gonna put the X brick in. And now we're gonna go up one more time. Here and here. And we're gonna do a shwoomy shwoomy and a shwoomy shwoomy like this. And now we have our split brick here, and I'm going to just pencil this in like this. That's going to need a little bit of support, so I'm just going to slide in the support over there. And last but not least, we have to go one more, and there's our input. All right, now we have a nice little demo of our X brick. X bricks are only going to be available in slopes. They're not going to be available in flats because balls can come from either side and they would collide in the middle. And if they're on a slope, it's fine. They'll just bounce around and go down. But if it was on a flat, there's a very good chance your balls are going to get stuck. So that is kind of what's going on with all of the Roll Hexfinity stuff. Now I want to talk about another release that I did a couple weeks ago, which is the adapter from Gridfinity to Hexfinity. As I said before, Hexfinity was inspired by Gridfinity. Specifically, one, I like that Zach Friedman open sourced it and shared with everybody, and now everybody's doing all kinds of cool stuff within that ecosystem. Two, I like the drop in place aspect. So like here, like you just drop in a piece and it just fits onto the board. It like self-centers, so it gets in the right place very easily. It's very easy to place things, which just makes it great for Roll Hexfinity, but it also makes it great for other things. So since I sort of had to pick arbitrary places to start, I ended up picking a solution that I hoped would get me close to compatible with Gridfinity. So here's what I did. And I hope to make these two compatible, which is of course a little squirrely. Like these are not compatible shapes. Hexagons and squares don't generally work too well together. But here was the main thing that I did. I made sure that the distance between flat sides was 42 millimeters, just like Zach Friedman's Gridfinity. So from flat side to flat side on the grid, it's 42. From flat side to flat side on the Hexfinity grid, it's 42. That allows us to do some cool stuff. The key is this piece right here. Yeah, we'll just use this piece, a little easier to see it. Same piece, just slightly different version. This piece has Hexfinity on the top and Gridfinity on the bottom. So I can now place this on 3 squares of Gridfinity, and now I have Hexfinity on the top. I can place Hexfinity right here. Further, I can put more of these in a row. And now I have a field of Gridfinity on top of Hexfinity on top of Gridfinity. So, you know, we can go and do, slide it over one here. Bang. I now have a Hexfinity, Roll Hexfinity path on top of this section, which is nested inside Gridfinity. And just to make a point, we can put Gridfinity right there alongside with the Hexfinity. So right off the bat, I think that's pretty cool. I love the fact putting 2 different systems together, I think is great. When 2 different systems can work together, you kind of have a multiplicative effect of what you can do between the 2 of them. Another thing we can do with this is the heights of the pieces are the same as the heights of Gridfinity. They are multiples of 7. So we can, in fact, go and put in a height 1 Gridfinity, and then put this Hexfinity adapter on top of it. So I can get you an angle where you can see it. And then we can go and we can put in height 2, like this, and put another one on top. And we can put in, we can continue in that vein. And as you can see, they're stacking up that direction. And that will, in fact, work for example, roll Hexfinity. Ha, look at me making a mess. We can go down, down, down. And in fact, we can go right down off the edge here. And have working roll Hexfinity stacked on top of a Gridfinity base. All of which means your existing Gridfinity stuff can be used together with Hexfinity in making more possibilities of fun stuff to do. Let's take a look at one more thing going on here. So these pieces are great. They give you 3 Hexfinity wide, and you can stack them as long as you want this direction, and you're gonna have an infinite number of them, which is great. But the problem is if you go to the side, this doesn't work. Because hexes have a different X dimension than grids do, they just don't line up. But I've got a solution for that. These are the core pieces, the core adapter, but then you can add extensions, like these extensions right here. So these are a length 1 extension you can add to the side, and now we can have 4 wide Hexfinity. And in fact, these extensions are mirrored, so you can put the extensions on either side, in which case now we would have a 5 wide Hexfinity on top of Gridfinity. And I've got several different levels of extensions you can use. We've got the 1 length extension, we've got the 2 length extension, the 3 length extension, and the large 4 length extension. And again, they're mirrored, so you can do them on the opposite side as well. Like I can put this one all the way over here on the opposite side. So you can go from 3 all the way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide fields of Hexfinity on top of Gridfinity. And they don't have to be, rectangular. Like you can have this sort of shape on the side. Point being, you can mix and match Gridfinity and Hexfinity quite easily with each other. Now is the time when I'm going to give you a little bit of teaser of upcoming releases. So why put Hexfinity on top of Gridfinity? Again, I'm trying to make these ecosystems compatible just so possibilities can happen. But I do have some thoughts for myself about what I want to do for possibilities. The main thing is I like Gridfinity for storage, but sometimes, particularly when you're talking about circular things, Hexfinity hex layouts are better than grid layouts. Also, hex layouts can be they can just break up the space visually. They can be nice to look at. They are going to give you slightly different sizes. It just gives you more options for storage. So I've got a couple of things in the path for what I'm calling store Hexfinity. So remember, we've got roll Hexfinity. Now you can start to see why I call this Hexfinity, because this works with all of Hexfinity. But this is roll Hexfinity. It's just for rolling things. And this is store Hexfinity. These are my initial pieces, which are bins, just like bins for Gridfinity. Hexfinity bins, and here we'll do a comparable one. So here is Hexfinity bin, here's a Gridfinity bin. And these bins, of course, just go right on top of Hexfinity, no problem. And you can store stuff in them. I've got these larger bins, which you can put right on top here. And this allows you to have hexagonal bins intermeshed with your square bins. For example, you might have a layout that looks something like this. We'll get one more adapter out here. So here, we've got blue bins and green bins. You, of course, can put them out in any color that you want, but the green bins are 2 wide, specifically. They're 2 hexes wide. And therefore, you get a layout like this. There's all kinds of potential bins we can do, but currently I've got 1 wide, 2 wide, and I am not showing you here, I have a 3 wide bin. But I also wanted to be able to fill these empty spaces in your tiling. And so I have also made these pieces. So with these alone, you can make many, many full tilings using these different other sizes. But in this layout, for example, we can pop these in like this, and like this, and have a full tiling except for right here. This would not be missed if we tiled also horizontally, if we didn't have just this 3 wide. I could actually sneak that in like that if I wanted to. So these bins are coming soon, and you'll be able to then stack things, and I will give you some demos. I'm already using these practically in my real life. These colored ones are just for testing out layouts, because there's so many interesting layouts you can do. I mean, we can do alternating layouts like this, in which case the blue bins don't fit at all, but the orange ones do. And you end up with the orange, you end up with sort of this pumpkin-y layout, this pumpkin crown layout going on here. One more would go like that, like this. And then that is a tileable layout that can go forever that direction. One other thing I want to show you that you may have just noticed going on here is a little innovation I came up with on accident as I was doing some earlier designs of this. This is certainly how it could be placed, right? We've got hex, 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 and it goes on top of those 3 hexes, nice fit. But sometimes I might want to slide it over here. Well, if I just made it simply 3 hex bottoms, just like normal Hexfinity, then I wouldn't have that option. But instead, I made this bottom. Looks kind of like a tire tread. Basically, this allows you to place this at half offsets anywhere in the grid. So I can go from here, I can move up a half, I can move over a half, I can move up a half. Any direction I have put it in half offsets, which gives you tons of more layout flexibility to place things wherever you want. And in fact, a little teaser, I am working on releasing what I'm calling Quad Gridfinity, which is the same thing. It allows you to place your bins at half locations, which again gives you so much more flexibility of layout. I mean, quite literally, it's 4 times your options with Hexfinity, with Gridfinity, similar with Hexfinity. I think it's even more than 4 times your options. So all of these have this layout on the bottom, which allows you to place them in all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different layouts, and all kinds of fun patterns. Like this one I was just playing with earlier today. I think I have to slide it over one to make it work. That. That. Kind of looks like the ChatGPT logo, doesn't it? The OpenAI logo. All right. One last teaser, though. I'm not done at all today, and this is just some of the many things I'm working on in the Hexfinity space. There's so much coming down the pipe. Here, this was super pleasant. Because of this bottom, I can put it on top of this, and it works perfectly. Delicious little sandwich. All right, last but not least, these are bins. The second of 3 different store Hexfinity technologies I'm developing is jars. So this jar is actually a jar that someone else created. When I release it, I'll make sure I'll give proper credit. I scaled it down so it was exactly the same edge-to-edge size as these bins. And then all I had to do was engineer a base like this, which now I can put on Hexfinity. And now you can dump jars on here. And again, one of the huge benefits of hexes over grids, it's a little easier to show it here, is that with hexes, you can tightly pack circular items. So you can tightly pack, I only have one circle here at the moment, but this is a circle, 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 which allows you to have very little wasted space in the middle of them, much less than when you're laying it out with grids. These are fabulous, even scaled down. The lids come on and off super easily. It prints without support. And then you have a very nice bin organization system that does not work particularly nicely with Gridfinity because it wastes a ton of space. But here, it can be very efficient, only wastes that tiny little bit, tiny little sliver right there. All right, so that is, I think, everything I want to cover today. So cheers, until next time, keep building 3D awesome modular things, and let's keep this going.